this is one of my favorite modules on Wake-Initiated Lucid Dreams. We also talk about a protocol where we interrupt sleep after either 3 or 4 REM periods for 30 to 60 minutes. We don't think there's too much difference between the two, but could be a lot of individual variability. So you can choose for yourself how long you want to interrupt your sleep, or don't even plan sleep interruption. Wait for it to happen spontaneously. So you wake up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. Use that time to practice mild and focus your mind for lucidity when you return to sleep. And it also overviews a galantamine option. Remember that this is purely educational. You don't need to take galantamine to lucid dream, but if you do, there's plenty of information in this module on this. And wanted to make sure I just kind of point your attention to where we are practicing this. And really this arrow that's pointing to this like hot pink section where you might do a little bit of mild, then wild right after sleep interruption. That's the golden hour for lucid dreaming, those early morning hours, whether you do a optional sleep interruption period or not. So that is where you want to be focusing these efforts. And you could try to get lucid at any time of night, but really, why not focus it at the time where you have the best chance? So interrupting your sleep, doing a little bit of mild, and you can do that wild practice as you fall back asleep. I did want to make some comments on wild in the module. One of you earlier was kind of talking to me about how you used to practice astral projection, which probably has a lot of similarities with wild, despite some variation in the interpretation. So certainly open to any and all perspectives that we want to integrate into our discussion. But the module will orient you to what is a wild, how is this different from ordinary lucid dreams. It'll talk about what you should expect in the wake-to-REM sleep transition, but that also could be highly variable as well. But good to kind of know what people generally or even universally tend to experience, so you can know what to look for. Also want to make sure you keep in mind that when we apply wild techniques, again, so this is staying lucid as you fall asleep, so you actually see the dream begin and start to form. Sometimes a new dream scene doesn't form where you're in a different place or suddenly in your bed and then you're outside. Very common to have a new dream scene that is exactly the same scene as the one you went to sleep in. So now you're just a dream body in a dream bed in a dream bedroom. And very often people will be meditating in this state for quite some time and not realizing that they're already dreaming. And so you want to be astute to this so you can recognize it and try to explore the lucid dream state. It's going to be a wasted opportunity often if you don't recognize this probability. Talks about the timing of wilds, how to induce them, different techniques, whether it's counting or mantras, mindfulness of the senses, those types of practices, body scans. If you have trouble putting yourself to sleep, mastering some relaxation methods could be really useful. And of course, there's different visualizations, whether it's attending to your hypnagogic imagery. Some people will like imagine writing on a chalkboard, this is a dream. There's also the more kinesthetic visualization. So visualizing your body moving, rocking, walking. This can often project you into the dream. And another term for this, of course, is imaginary rehearsal. You're just rehearsing different sensory experiences that can help you maintain awareness or lucidity as you're falling asleep. Body scans are a really great technique to practice. There's one at the end of the module. There's quite a variety of different forms of this. My favorite, of course, is the Stephen LeBear's recommended 61-point relaxation. Love this meditation, especially if you have a harder time with meditation, because it's very active and fast moving. So you're not just like meditating on your big toe for 5 minutes, or you just get distracted and then you fall asleep. You're quickly moving around your body, these different points. I recommend learning this in the daytime and memorizing the pattern. So once you want find an opportunity to induce a wild, you already know how to do this. You can systematically just move your attention around these points because you've memorized it. You don't need to pull out your phone or your headphones and listen to a guided audio. So it's one that you can easily learn and memorize and apply it at different points to not just help induce lucid dreaming, but help induce sleep. Okay, so I wanted to give you all an opportunity to share about your practices this week. And so that could really be anything. I want to know what you've been up to, how you've been practicing, if there were any near misses, or maybe somewhere you're just kind of struggling or stuck, or maybe you're feeling discouraged or unmotivated or unfocused. Even if you didn't have a lucid dream this week, I love to hear just different examples and reports. There's so much we can learn from these wild examples. What times you've actually induced a wild, or if you thought it was astral projection or an OBE, love to share about that, because it is, for most people, an uncommon experience. And even for lucid dreamers, a lot of people never graduate to the point where they're able to induce a wild. So it's good to talk about what that's like, how to induce them. So feel free to share. I had a question about 61 points. Is it the same as Yoga Nidra? So Yoga Nidra is a type of meditation that helps you kind of meditate in the state that's between wake and sleep. And Yoga Nidra is more broad, but 61 points certainly is a common Yoga Nidra practice. Yoga Nidra, it has a lot of different applications. I'm familiar with it for people that have like trauma and PTSD, because it's so difficult for them to fall asleep at night. So they learn to kind of be in that state sort of in between, which is also restful and restorative, even if they have a hard time fully falling asleep. But yes, that is very commonly practiced in 61 points. It's commonly practiced in Yoga Nidra. Okay, so the floor is open. Feel free to just chime in, unmute your microphones, or feel free to raise your hand. This is your time. All right, welcome everybody. So why don't we get started? Just really happy to see everybody, and been looking forward to our meeting all week. Have really been enjoying this, so this is exciting. So there was something that came up that I thought was important and enough to touch on again today, and this has to do with that fuzzy topic that came up around wild. So wake-initiated lucid dreams, how does that compare with out-of-body experiences, and how does it compare with, well, a less scientific term or unscientific term, or an esoteric one, that is astral projection, which people tend to define as believing that they leave their physical body and they enter some sort of astral body, and they might explore the physical pain in this plane in this alternate body. So I'm bringing this up today because a lot of the time I hear this over and over again. People don't believe those experiences are dreams necessarily. And they think they're too real to be a dream. They're so different from their ordinary dreams or lucid dreams that they just can't be a lucid dream. Another way I hear people describe it a lot is saying that these experiences are more real than real. And part of this rationale is the fact that they're aware or have some sort of awareness that they feel like they are leaving their body. So they were in their physical body, and now they're in this alternative body or an astral body, or they don't have a body. And another piece of this has to do with having this awareness of like being in your bed, in your body, and in your bedroom, and all of a sudden you're in this other dimension or state that overlaps with that. So I wanted to make sure everyone is aware that there has been some research on this that shows that these experiences do occur in REM sleep. I haven't posted it yet, but I'm going to share it with you. This is a study that was done by Dr. LaBerge and company. It includes the author, Dr. Zimbardo. It's pretty famous for the Stanford prison experiments, and such a great study. I'm going to post it online, and there's a lay person. version of this on lucidity.com that they published in their newsletters, but this one's a really easy read too, so I'm going to post it all for you to read. But there's a few things to summarize about it that I think are interesting. They took 14 participants and put them in the lab, and this resulted in 107 signal verified dream reports, and 10 of these reports were judged to have out-of-body features. So this would be they're laying in bed, suddenly they feel like they're leaving their body, or they have a twin body. They reference this in their reports. There's often some sort of distortion in bodily sensations. They can be somewhat bizarre, can include sleep paralysis, buzzing, other kinds of hallucinations. And there's often a reference to the bed or the bedroom in these reports. And another common piece of this is flying or floating, or your limbs will start involuntarily floating up, or your whole body, or you get pulled off the bed. So I wanted to point out that when they did the study, all of these experiences did occur in verifiable REM sleep. This doesn't mean that all out-of-body experiences, or whatever you want to call it, astral projection, it doesn't mean that that always occurs in REM sleep, though. You can have out-of-body experiences in states of stress, near-death experiences, drugs, or when you're ill, states of deep meditation, these can occur in as well. But they very commonly do occur in REM sleep, and there's believed to be some physiological overlap between out-of-body experiences and the REM sleep state. And it's a great term to describe this, metachoric. This means that you'll be aware in the physical plane, right? But then the whole of the environment is replaced by a hallucinatory one. And that environment, that hallucination, it can be a very precise or even imprecise replica of the physical world. So that transition might appear completely continuous with ordinary waking perception. So this is one of the reasons why I give this mantra, that dream body in a dream bed, in a dream bedroom, to kind of help you remember what state you're in. And this is also a way of helping remind you that you're not stuck in between states or just stuck in sleep paralysis necessarily. You may already be in a dream. I thought it was really interesting in the paper, you'll see that they try to give a rationale or explanation and why do so many people say that these experiences feel more real than ordinary dreams. And it kind of makes sense because we don't ordinarily dream about our sleeping environments, with the exception of false awakenings, but those are rare too. And we also don't usually have continuous consciousness as we fall asleep. There's usually a lapse in consciousness. But because there's no lapse in consciousness, there's continuity in experience as one transitions from perceiving the external physical environment, including your body, to dissociating from these external physical inputs. Now, I want to make sure I emphasize that there's nothing necessarily wrong with calling it like astral projection, if that's what resonates with you. But you will notice in this course that I do tend to de-emphasize that term when I'm teaching lucid dreaming. One, because I have my science hat on, and that helps us do better with understanding the dream world and navigating it and inducing lucidity. And also because there's some consensus agreement, such as in this paper, that shows that these experiences can occur in verifiable REM sleep. And there's also the trouble where when we start to use imprecise, vague, or muddy terms to describe these states in a group situation such as this, things can start to get lost in translation and we don't really know what each other's talking about. So I don't want that to interfere with our journey. So that's why you'll notice I tend to de-emphasize that term, but I do at the same time recognize that people have different ways of describing their personal journeys, and that is just fine. Possibly it's even needed. And I encourage you to explore those things if it's helpful to you.